Time on! Don't let go!
They literally just killed off the token black guy first. Howdy all, I'm Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and welcome to my review of Rings of Power Season 2, Episode 4. A lot of lore breaks and a lot of bullshit and a lot of jangling one-liner member berries to make you think of Peter Jackson's adaptations. Anyway, wow, this episode, listen, I struggled last week to get through 3 episodes, had to do 1 review a day. I am very glad it's just the 1 review this week because, man, this show hurts your brain. You feel a little dumber after watching it. I know, I'm a retard anyway, so what's it matter? Either way, this show continues to hit new lows of disrespect. There are 2 major lore breaks in this episode that shows you these people in charge, they do not care. In fact, I wager to say they hate what Tolkien put down as lore, as gospel. Anyway, as usual, we've got 4 sections that really don't interact, so we're going to go through each one at a time. Then we'll be done, move on our way, and get ready for This is Mordor Country! 8:30 p.m. Eastern on this channel, on Jed's channel, and yeah, on Dermy's channel too. We're going to join us for that. We're going to have a glorious time roasting this dog shit. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go.
But you are young, and I am old. Eldest. That's what I am.
What do you mean, eldest?
Eldest.
The last we left off with the Three Stooges. They had been separated when Gandalf, not Gandalf, summoned a whirlwind to save everybody but couldn't control it. So Frodo, Nori, and Berry Muncher Poppy got flung off into the unknown where they should have died. We'll get to that next segment. Anyway, so you got Gandalf, not Gandalf, wandering the wastelands of Rhûn looking for them. Nori! Nori! Poppy. Nori, where are you? I can't have my journey without my Frodo! He eventually arrives at a little house in the middle of nowhere, and there's this dude playing in the dirt, gardening. Well, he's gardening. I'll be fair, he's gardening. And he turns around and says, hey, hi, I'm Tom Bombadil. Doesn't say that yet, but it's Tom Bombadil. We'll get back to Tom Bombadil in a moment and how horrible what they do here is to the lore. It truly is atrocious. It truly is a crime against Tolkien. Really it is. Anyway, Gandalf, not Gandalf, says, I've got this map of the stars, this constellation, and it's led me to your house. It's over your house. I love this moment. You know why I love this moment? Because last week, Microbrains criticized me for saying, why don't they just follow the constellation to get to Rhûn? Oh, but it moves, and you can't do that. Well, apparently he followed the constellation to the house. Explain that one away, Microbrains. Go lick some windows, go drool, and let the real reviewers and analysts keep going now. I win, you lose, suck it. Anywho, he takes the sheet from Gandalf, says, oh, what's this? Oh, whatever, and tosses it away, and Gandalf is going to go follow it. After some really bad jokes about you found the goat, blah, blah, blah. And Gandalf follows it until he finds a tree. And on the tree, the piece of paper is now stuck. And he goes to take the piece of paper out. He looks at it and says, oh, you have such a mighty branch. I must have this branch to be my staff. So Gandalf, not Gandalf, tries to pull the branch off, but the tree wakes up, gets angry, and swallows him. Member berry moment number 1. Remember when Merry and Pippin got swallowed by the trees? When they were meeting Treebeard? I remember. So Gandalf, not Gandalf, gets swallowed by the tree just like Merry and Pippin got swallowed by the tree. Now, we don't have no idea how long he's in there. He should probably be dead, but he's not, because then here comes Tom Bombadil, and he actually gives the Treebeard speech to calm the tree. I member, you member, we all member. Better Lord of the Rings. That's what we member. Anyway, so he yanks him out of the tree and he gives him a bath. Here, have a bath. Wash your hands. Scrub your face. Blah, blah, blah. And this is glorious now. This is glorious. Okay, so while Gandalf not Gandalf is bathing, he hears Tom Bombadil singing in his rhythmic, merry, merry way. And for a moment, just a moment, he hears a woman's voice. Oh, you're going to think, oh, we're going to go out there and see Goldberry, his wife? No. After Gandalf not Gandalf gets cleaned up, goes back out there, Tom Bombadil says, oh, let's have a little chat as he rhymes away. And then, now I'm going to stop this right here. I'm not going to go into their whole back and forth because it's a lot of wasted time and a lot of, how do I put this? As I said last review, what could have been? It shows you, just for a blip, that they could have done this right. If they decide to use Tom Bombadil, they could have done it right. They have him talking in his merry kind of mischievous way, not really answering, using a lot of dodging answers to not Gandalf's questions, and then giving a speech about how he is the eldest. Yes, that is Tom Bombadil's lore. It is believed, Tolkien never actually put his finger on it and said it is, but it is believed that Tom Bombadil is the oldest living creature, entity, in the world. He's been around since before the First Age even started. All right? This time he says, I'm older than that, I'm eldest, blah, blah, blah. And we go through all this stuff, and eventually we get to the problem. If they had just stopped there and had made Tom Bombadil this wistfully crazy, kind of loony, goofy, loosey-goosey kind of guy who maybe just has a conversation with Gandalf, not Gandalf, that allows Gandalf, not Gandalf, to get some clarity on the world and clarity of purpose. That could have worked. We could have walked away, and I'd have nothing to complain about, except possibly bad acting, which actually the performances were okay. I'll give them that. But no. They had to actually now butcher Tom Bombadil. First butcher, as I said, Goldberry is heard but not seen. She shouldn't actually be there. Now, though, Gandalf not Gandalf is going to ask him to teach him magic. Teach me magic, or teach me the staff, because Tom Bombadil's like, oh no, magic has its own things, all rules, everything belongs to everything, blah, blah, blah. Tom Bombadil will say to him, oh, another Astari came to me once and said, hey, listen, can you teach me the wizarding ways? Can I be your Harry Potter to your Dumbledore, please? Can we do that? And Tom Bombadil taught him how to be a wizard. Problem is, the Dark Wizard, that's what they're calling it, the Dark Wizard. So creative. So creative. The Dark Wizard became bad. And now it's your job, Gandalf not Gandalf. It's your job to make sure the Dark Wizard and Sauron don't unite their flames and burn the world. And now, here we are. This is where it all goes wrong immediately. Tom Bombadil, the whole foundation for his character, as stated by Tolkien, he does not care about the workings of the Dark Lords, both Morgoth and Sauron. He doesn't care. He has no even interest. That's where interest. He has no interest in the goings-on in the world outside of his own land, wherever he is plopped down in that moment in time. He doesn't care. To make him care, to make him Dumbledore to Gandalf, not Gandalf's Harry Potter, that breaks his character lore. I don't need to say anything else. I don't need to give you a play-by-play of the scene. That alone breaks this entirely. There it is. Got nothing else to say on that. During this period of time, we get a scene with the Dark Wizard who finds out that Gandalf, not Gandalf, is busy learning from Tom Bombadil. And he says, I'll deal with him myself. Max dudes, you go find the halflings. All right? And that's it. That's all we get for Gandalf, not Gandalf, and Tom Bombadil. Judge it for yourself, my friends. Judge it for yourself. I've made my judgment. It's broken. It's not right. It's an insult to Tolkien. Moving on to Frodo, Nori, and Barry Muncher Poppy.
Who are you exactly?
I'm nobody.
Well, he can't be nobody.
Well, that's what everybody calls me.
Well, if everybody calls you nobody, doesn't anybody call you somebody?
Well, my mum calls me Mary Mack.
I'm going to start with this. Frodo, Nori, and Barry Muncher Poppy, they should be dead. D-E-D, dead. They got flung very high into the sky. And wherever they landed, they should have myriad of broken bones and internal injuries. But no, they're perfectly fine. And don't give me, it's a fantasy world. Tolkien's been pretty good about showing nobody's immune to injury in his world. You get banged around, you get beat up, you get slammed around, you should be dead. So Nori and Poppy should be, literally toe up. Although for a moment, Poppy is toe up and it's disgusting. Right, so Nori wakes up, finds Poppy, wake up, let's go. You get a real great, disgusting shot of Poppy's dirty ass feet. I could smell it through the screen. Nasty. Then they see the dudes in the masks are coming, so they decide to jump off a small cliff and roll to safety. Wow, they must have the ability to soak all kinds of damage. I wish I had that kind of durability. I do, I really do. Anyway, they're wandering around until suddenly they find this, whatever this guy is. What the hell is even that? He's nobody. He's nobody, no, but he's Mary Mack. I don't know who the hell that is. It's a made-up shit character. This is all fan fiction right here, right now. It's one thing to introduce Tom Bombadil and break his character. We are now in a moment where there are no actual characters connected to Tolkien's lore. We are in total fanfic land here. And if you say otherwise, I'm sorry. This is a fanfic right here where you got Frodo, Nori, and Barry Muncher Poppy meeting Mary Mack, who's another part of another Hobbit offshoot clan. I forget what the freaking name is. It's so retarded. Don't care. I know that's actual lore, I think, but doesn't matter because there's no actual material Tolkien wrote about them. They're making this shit up. After a moment where Poppy is thirsting over this dude, but then bullies him because he's a moron and has to do what a girl says, he decides to take them to their hidden village. Their hidden village, which ain't so goddamn hidden. We're going to find out later on. Not so hidden. Anyway, they get to the front of it, and he gives them rules how to behave when talking to the chick who's in charge, who, when they get down there, after seeing this very diverse group of hobbits and halflings, or hobbits, not hobbits, what the hell they are. Here comes our head woman, who is just I'm going to say it, angry black woman. Angry black woman stereotype who's going to be whammies in charge and yell at everybody. Going to make fun of the dude, make fun of everybody. It's so tiring and boring. She's going to say, what are you? You're Harfoots here? We're not Harfoots. We're whatever the hell you think we are in this stupid fanfic thing. And in the end, Frodo, Nori, and Barry Muncher Poppy are going to be tied up along with Mary Mack for breaking the rules. When we come back to them later on, here comes angry black woman head chief lady. I don't know what the fuck her name is. And says, you're going to be thrown out tomorrow because we don't want trouble with the big dudes who are looking for you because the Dark Wizard is a bad deal. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Nori got asked, who are you looking for? We're looking for our friend who's a wizard. And that's one of the reasons they tie them up, because wizards are bad in Rune because the Dark Wizard rules everything with an iron evil fist. Anyway, then when Nori's trying to talk her way out of it, she mentions, wow, you're very familiar to the old black dude from last season who was our Hobbit leader who basically promoted cannibalism, and he died for no fucking reason. I'm remembering it. He died for nothing. And she says, oh, whatever the hell his name was. Oh, wait, that sounds familiar. So angry black head woman takes Frodo Nori to look at a cave wall painting of telling the history how a particular member of their tribe basically had wanderlust and decided to go off into the world with a few followers to find what essentially is the Shire. They're looking for the Shire. And then Nori's gonna cry, yes, he was the ancestor of my beloved guy who died for no reason. And He never found the Shire. They use some other stupid word. I don't care. I don't care. He never found the Shire. We're all connected. Now angry black woman is now more amenable. Now she's turning into amenable black woman because, wait a minute, have you found the Shire? Will we leave this blighted desert to trees and hobbit holes and fresh green earth? And Nori's like, no, we're homeless. We wander the land eating each other because we're cannibals. That's essentially what she says, until suddenly they might have they might hug it out. I think they were going to hug it out, but then, oh no, we've got intruders. So their hidden village was easily discovered by the dudes in the masks who threatened them to hand over the Harfoots or face the wrath of the Dark Wizard who'll come there himself. That's it. That's it. We're done with this segment. Fan fiction, nothing happens, worthless bullshit that is none of it Tolkien lore. None of it. Let's go on to more butchering, shall we? Isildur, his adventures where there's no tension because Isildur must survive no matter what.
What was that?
There are nameless things in the deep places of this world. This one we shall call supper.
You gotta love these Isildur sections because there's zero tension. Everything that happens around Isildur is meaningless because he has a set-in-stone fate. It's boring. It's pointless. But I guess we're gonna go through it anyway. Everybody's looking for Theo without his badass teenage mustache after the events of last episode where they had to save Isildur's horse, who is nowhere in this episode. Go through all that stuff to save his horse, and they don't use the horse in the episode. So, because, I mean, seriously, if you had the horse, who's such a great bloodhound, couldn't they have used the horse to bloodhound out Theo in all this mess? Because you got to sniff a Theo. He's a bloodhound horse. He could do it. Come on, man. Anyway. So they're looking for Theo. They find no remains. Legolas the Black, he is now seeing traces of the Ents, though he can't quite put a name to it yet. Bunch of basically flower petals everywhere. He finds remains of Wildman stuff, and they conclude that no mortal man severed this arm that I found holding a torch. I am Legolas the Black. You will hear what I say as we now return to the town where we're basically squatting in Númenórean ruins. And I will say we must search for Theo even though he's not my son. I must honor Big Tit Baby. Okay, not Big Tit, but Big Tit out, Titty out there, Bronwyn. I'm thinking of Big Tit Stitcher McGee is what I'm thinking of. Anyway, I got too into the bit. I'm sorry, we're moving on. Stopping the bit, moving on. They're trying to rally a search for more Theo, but nobody really wants to do it until he convinces them, no, we have to do it. The wild men have to be stopped, blah, 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 blah. And at this point, suddenly, Legolas the Black decides to have a problem with ethnically ambiguous Estrid, who is kind of like, oh, I was sort of out there in the world. Don't worry about me. They're in the north where it's untouched because old things are there. Some shit like that. And, of course, you know, Isildur's ready to believe anything she says because he has the thirst. He has the thirst hard for her. Hard for her. But Legolas the Black, he ain't having any of it. So while we have a sort of semi-romantic comedy moment between an ethnically ambiguous Astrid and... let's start calling Isildur Plot Armor Isildur. And Plot Armor Isildur, Legolas the Black's going to come back over and say, hey, Estrid, I got a problem with you. How come you're so dodgy about what you're doing? They're going to have a really lame back and forth dialogue exchange where finally he pushes her too hard and she throws a jug at him and he does a ninja kick to break it and then grabs her. She runs away and reveals that she burned off the mark of Adar. I was trying to say Adar. That's his name. Adar. Mark of Adar, which is what Wildmen do when they want to sneak in. And guess what? Guess what? We would have caught her, Plot Armor Isildur, if she hadn't walked in with you. Now, stop right there. How did he know the mark was there? Because he never sees it. Every time we glance at her, her hair and clothes are completely covering it. But he's Legolas the Black. He figures these things out because he's black, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so now they're going to use her as a tracker to go find Theo without his badass teenage mustache. So now they're out in the wilds marching along, and they got this whole shtick going on. Why don't you unshackle me because it'll be easier for me to walk? He's like, no, I won't do it. I don't trust you. They're walking through the mud. I believe Plot Armory Cylinder actually says, watch your step. Watch your step, everybody. It's muddy. Well, while Legolas the Black and ethically ambiguous Astrid are fighting with each other, we hear a, oh! And they go see what's going on with Plot Armory Cylinder. Plot Armory Cylinder is sinking into the mud. But because he's Plot Armory Cylinder, you know nothing really is ever going to happen to him. He's going to live through everything. He's Plot Armory Cylinder. He can't get out. Legolas the Black tries to pull him out, but they both end up getting pulled in. And now it's that very obvious moment where Astrid seems to run away, but comes back with a stick to try and stick it in there and help them get out, even though Legolas the Black got pulled in head first, and Plot Armory Cylinder was another easily 6 feet down. So who's going to grab onto that stick when Legolas the Black was feet first up, with feet up? Well, something does grab on, and then, oh, look, it's a monster! It's a monster! Oh, my God, it's a weird thing of the nothings. We don't know what it is. The worm creature tries to eat ethnically ambiguous Astrid, but then Legolas the Black cuts his way out and pulls Isildur with him. And she'll actually say, what is that? Another member buried line. There are darker things out there in the depths of the world. You know, basically mirroring Gandalf and his speeches like that. It's retarded. But what's it called? We shall name this Supper. Yeah. Funny. Real witty. Anyway, they're covered in mud. Well, Legolas the Black and Plot Armory Isildur. They're covered head to toe in muck and grime. When we come back that evening, man, they cleaned up good with no obvious sources of water around them. They cleaned up real good. Look at that spit. Man, they are just spotless. Their clothes are perfectly clean. Everything about them. It's as though nobody knows what continuity looks like. They should be covered in crap right now. But no, everything is perfectly clean. Hair, clothes, skin, everything. Well, Legolas the Black decides to put the key to Astrid's manacles down because he sort of trusts her now, yet doesn't. And then here comes Plot Armory Cylinder, who has the thirst big time. They have a little chat. Oh, did he leave you the key? Maybe he did, but maybe he left it for you to make the decision. So he unlocks her, and he tries to thirst her up, but then she takes his sword and says, no one can redeem me for the stuff I've done. They can't do it. Can't happen. Well, she's not going to kill him because Legolas the Black has the bead on her. Like, I got my dub done like this. That retarded bow stance. Until they hear some noises. Now, I did forget to mention, we did see Theo without his badass teenage mustache held in a wooden prison earlier. I forgot that part. Doesn't matter. It's a split second. Who cares? Held with the other wild men. So now they hear something approaching. Something's approaching them. And, oh, wow. The Ents are here. And one of them is an Ent wife. An Ent wife who has a meltdown. Can these people get out of their own way with stereotypes? The male Ent is calm and collected, but the female Ent is throwing a tantrum about how the orcs and everybody else destroys the trees that they planted from Nut and Acorn. It's like they used the member berries again. They have a tantrum until Legolas the Black calms her down. He calms her down by talking Elvish and brushing her arm and this and that, and she gives a really lame-ass speech about the world and growth and freedom and trust. It's more the fake philosophical crap we've come to know from this show already. And then she lets out Theo without his badass teenage mustache and all the wild men. And right as Isildur with his plot armor is about to thirst it up with ethically ambiguous Astrid, here comes the dude she's been looking for, and he's like, oh man, I just got cock blocked. Oh, I feel bad. I'm gonna go away. And Theo and Legolas the Black, they have their retouching moment, and Legolas the Black says, I must now go forth and track the Orc army. The Orc army, which just a minute ago last episode was still fully encamped. Remember that. They had their camp. They were still at Orc home base in Mordor. Okay? Yet they have marched. The Ents don't understand time, so they can't really tell you how long it's been since they marched through. But don't worry, because nobody actually knows, because this show can't keep time. But Legolas the Black, he's going to go off and find him, and I'm sure Isildur with his plot armor is going to go with him. But he asks Theo without his badass teenage mustache, hey kid, you want to come with me? Theo without his badass teenage mustache says, nah, I got my own things to do here. I'm good, dad, not dad. So it seems as though, unless Isildur with his plot armor stays with these people, Theo may have been written out. But I kind of think, now that I talk about it, it seems as though Isildur with his plot armor is going to stay with ethnically ambiguous Astrid, and Theo without his badass teenage mustache, and the Wildmen and the people who are squatting in the Númenórean ruins. I think he's going to stay there because he's going to try and get home, because he's got to go help out with Make Númenor Great Again. He's got to get involved with that and tell his big tit sister to calm down. All right, he's got to do that. But that's it. We're done with this. Let's talk elves and Galadriel, warrior princess, and some serious lore breaks.
These are Elvin lands. Go back to the shadow.
Are you ready for your dose of Galadriel, warrior princess? Because you're going to get it. That and a massive lore break. I think this is actually worse than the Tom Bombadil lore break, what happens in this segment of the show. It's actually worse because it really does break the timelines and put things where they shouldn't be, lore-wise, timeline-wise. It's crazy, it's wrong, and I dare anybody who is apologizing for this to defend this. I dare you when we get to it. Well, first, we have to show that Galadriel is not happy being under the command of Femrond, who's trying to be Elrond. She is basically saying, I don't want to listen to you. I'm going to be a salty bitch, even though Elrond says, you're my lieutenant, and you're going to do what I say. And I need your advice as my lieutenant. And she eventually capitulates, says, yes, I can get you your diverse group of companions to go with us to Eregion. And oh boy, does she not fail him in that aspect. Because now we're going to show them actually traveling the land. Little weird shots of blending with the map as they run across terrain. Why not use fast travel? Everybody else does. You've done it before, Elrond. You know how to do it. They come to a broken bridge, which is going to force them to go another route. And as usual, Galadriel thinks it's all Sauron's doing, when we have plainly seen in this series that everything that Sauron does is coincidence. He doesn't actually plan or do anything. He just takes advantage of moments. They're going to keep running this whole thing where Galadriel's using her ring, and Femrond, who wants to be Elrond, doesn't trust her. And now, when they turn around and they consult the gang. Wow. What did I tell you last week? This group was going to be diverse. You've got token black elf with his tight fade. You've got Asian elf who has all of 3 lines in the entire episode. You got a twink in the middle who I'm going to call red shirt. And then you've got a ginger. They got a ginger in there. I'm surprised they didn't axe him for another black elf. Anyway, after a little more whining and complaining about where they're going to go, they shouldn't go this way because Galadriel says there's evil this way. That's where Sauron wants us to go. Somebody tell Morfydd Clark, stop rolling your R's. You sound like a retard. Anyway, they eventually go where they're not, where she doesn't want them to go. The Barrow Mounds. The Barrow Mounds. Yes, the Barrow Mounds should be here. They should be there, okay? Because they were created in the First Age by men of the First Age to bury their dead. But here's the problem. The Barrow Mounds do not become corrupted and have Barrow Wights until the Third Age. Yeah, because here we go. They get in there. You saw it in my intro clip. They find the remains of the messengers that Gil-galad sent to Eregion, and they know something bad is out there. The ginger sees something. Everybody sends something. And the black elf dude, he's gone. He gets ganked immediately in classic stereotype trope fashion. Kill the black guy first in the horror movie setting. Isn't that great? Isn't that grand? And then here come the Barrow Wights. Now, as I said, the Barrow Wights shouldn't be here. It's a very plain and simple fact of Tolkien lore. Barrow Wights were agents, minions of the Witch King of Angmar, who doesn't exist yet. And isn't even even if he had been given his ring at this point, he's still not the Witch King yet. Angmar doesn't exist yet. But here they are. Here they are. For no reason. This scene serves no purpose except to kill off the black elf dude and to, I guess, show that Elrond has knowledge and command of the situation, because as Tolkien lore people know, Barrow Wights cannot be killed unless by the weapons they were buried with. And Elrond seems to know this, even though Barrow Wights don't exist. And they slay the Barrow Wights and they run away, and then they bury the dude who got ganked because he's black in a horror movie setting. Yeah, I mean, seriously. Seriously. Can you defend this? People who support this show. Can you defend this? This is an egregious, blatant lore break. You can't. There is no defending this. Barrow Wights exist because of the Witch King of Angmar, who exists because Sauron creates the 9 Rings of Men, but he hasn't created the 9 Rings of Men. Therefore, the Witch King of Angmar hasn't gotten his ring yet and become a ring wraith, a Nazgul, and therefore cannot create the Barrow Wights later on. I got nothing else to say. I think these actions speak for themselves. Anyway, as they're grieving for the black elf dude who died in the classic black guy dies in a horror movie trope stereotype, Elrond and Galadriel have a little moment together where she's trying to convince him that we're doing good stuff here. We have to get here, but no matter what, you have to fight Sauron. Even if something happens to me, you got to fight Sauron. Please, I'm begging you. And he says, I don't trust you because of the ring, but I will fight Sauron. It's more fake philosophical bullshit to make them sound profound. Anywho, we get to nighttime, and as they are traveling, they spot the orc army of Adar. And they're confused. Is Adar and Sauron working together? Are they working separately? We don't know. We don't know. Of course, Galadriel always says, no, Sauron's always at the center of everything. And now they have a problem. What do? Because as they're mucking around in the dark, an orc hunting party trying to kill a horse, a random horse. Why a horse? Why not something else but a horse? Is there. And they try not to get spotted, but as the orcs are randomly shooting arrows into the dark, and everybody's laying low, yet somehow Red Shirt Twink gets hit with an arrow. And he makes a noise as he gurgles as they cover his mouth, and they're trying to do something, and the orc's getting closer, and then Galadriel uses the ring to heal him. Boom. I don't know if that's a power of that ring. I do not know. I need a lore guy or gal to tell me. I do not know. But she heals him, and everybody's amazed, and then Galadriel takes off the ring, gives it to Elrond, and says, I'm gonna distract them so you can get away. Because I am Galadriel, warrior princess, and there is no orc who can stand against me. So Galadriel marches off she goes full Galadriel mode, and you saw it in the transition clip to this. These are elven lands. You will go back to the shadow. With another good old-fashioned line borrowed from Gandalf. Back to the shadow. She proceeds to fight them, as I said, in full Galadriel warrior princess mode, kicking ass, taking names, flipping, dodging, laying back on a horse as the blade skims her and almost hits her nose. And then she's gonna win. She's owning this orc scouting party. She's the greatest ever until a rando chain pulls her off the horse, and then she tries to scramble for her bow and arrow. But then it's Adar, and he grabs the arrowhead and snuffs it out and says, "You're now mine, Galadriel warrior princess. Will you treat..." He doesn't say, "Will you treat with me?" But they're going to treat next episode. And that's the end of the episode, as she's frustrated on the ground, nowhere to go. So that's it. We're done. Did you have a good time? I didn't.
Ellen sila lumen o mentielvo. Heruni altaria.
Right, we're done. It's another episode in the bag. I think I made it pretty clear what the lore breaks were, how bad they were. Usual bad acting throughout this whole thing. Usual crap choreography throughout this whole thing. Inconsistencies in both time and this and that. I mean, I brought it up earlier. I'll bring it up now. How did nobody track that orc army moving from Mordor to basically Eregion? That's like 1,000 miles, dude. Or at least a few hundred. And how did they get there so quickly? They just left Mordor last episode. They were still in Mordor last episode. Remember? Where the orcs just want a home? Remember that? They were still in Mordor. How are they here now? How did they get there? Time inconsistencies, character inconsistencies, physical inconsistencies, lore breaks, character breaks. It's all there. It's all there. This show is a disaster, and guess what? Nobody's watching it. The numbers are down from season 1. Way down. Nobody cares. But you care to watch me lose my mind, and you will care, I hope, to join me and others 8:30 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. This is Mordor Country, where we will roast this episode, break it down, have a good time, and some people might be drunk. It may happen. Who knows? Anyway, thank you all for watching this review. If you had a good time, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for all my goodness. I'm here to entertain you, make it fun while I suffer. Thank you again for watching. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.